This is episode 3 of the Heart of Bastrop Talk Show. Can't believe we're in season 6. I'm TJ Finn, and I'm the chairman of the board for the Heart of Texas Chamber of Commerce.
And I'm Connie Schrader. I'm mayor of the city of Bastrop.
We're going to release this episode a little early.
We've got some Easter specials.
We do. We have a big surprise from you. Listen to me. From you. You're going to feel like it was from you, but it's actually for you. So enjoy this episode. So we're here today with John Eason with Celebration Church and with SANDRA GREANEY with Kids Outdoor Zone. And we're really excited that you guys came to talk with us. And we're going to talk about your tent revival. And then you also have a big event coming up. So how exciting.
I think we should always start with the tent revival, don't you think?
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you something. TJ, Connie, I'm so glad you let us come on and be a part of this.
Well,
And we're calling it actually Passion Week Revival because it's during the Easter week and the celebration. And in fact, it's right in front of the Hampton, that big grassy field just to the right of Walmart.
That's right.
And actually next Friday, I think we're going to put the big old tent will be there already. And it's going to be a great community thing. It starts on the 4th, and we're calling that actually the Sacred Assembly. And it's a little different. It's not the actual revival, but it's the gathering of our leaders in our city, our spiritual leaders, our community leaders. And we just want to cry out and pray on behalf of our city. And so that's the first night. But then Wednesday night, it actually kicks off. It'll be there every night. But Friday is a kind of a neat night too, because that's traditionally Good Friday for us.
Right.
And so we are going to have a live reenactment of the crucifixion. Another church in the community is actually putting it together, and it's going to be very exciting. I think they're going to kind of do the Via del Rosa, maybe up the street from like Taco Bell or something. Yeah, it could be really cool. And that's Friday night, just before the actual meeting starts. And then on Saturday, there's citywide men's breakfast, and Texas Grill is actually sponsoring the gravy and the biscuits.
Wow.
And there's a women's luncheon. Jalisco vehicle will be there the whole time. The food truck for Jalisco will be there the whole time as well. And so we want to just invite everybody to come out. It's a great city. A lot of churches will be participating in it.
You know, John, one of the things that I always think about in Passion Week is everybody wants to get to Easter morning, but you have to go through, there's steps to get you to that resurrection.
That's right. First, the crown of thorns, before the crown of life, and but also then that's what makes it kind of tough if you only do a Sunday morning.
Correct.
See, if you're only doing Sunday morning,
Not
it makes it very difficult, doesn't it? So having a revival, and since like the old-fashioned revivals, TJ, like you and I grew up with, actual tents and stuff, and I mentioned some of the other day they were going to do a tent revival. And they looked like, why would you do that? Because we got buildings now, we got AC, but you know what? The tent is kind of authentic, and it's in the city. The city can participate. You don't have to go into a particular church. You don't have to go inside walls to see what's happening. It's something I think that the city can be involved in.
Yes.
And so even though sometimes even the tent to me is like, I don't know about the tent, too many weather issues, but it really is the best for the city. And so to start, like what you're saying, Connie, to be, hey, we can really look at the crucifixion side and even in a theatrical sense as well, and then Sunday morning, of course, there will be the citywide sunrise service that's been going on for like 50 years in Bastrop called Easter Sunrise. That'll be at that location too, but then to celebrate really the full season, that's what we're going to call Passion Week. And so I think it'll be really good.
Well, I'm impressed because I thought people would have said, what is a tent revival?
Well, we have a little 10 by 10 right now, a little pop-up tent. I mean, honestly, we do. I know TJ's seen it. And it's got a banner that says, pray for your city for 15 minutes. Well, a lot has been happening around that little $150 investment. I think it's the best $150 I've ever spent. But some people have actually asked me, is that the tent? I'm like, okay, well, we're going to expect 6 people, yes. But actually the tent is actually a big tent. I mean, it's going to be almost that whole field from one side to the other.
Wow.
It seats like 1,100. I mean, it's going to be an exciting time. And so, it's not just that little 10 by 10, but that little 10 by 10 tent, people have been going there. I'm sure you've seen them too, TJ.
Yes.
Been going there praying for our city.
And,
Bastrop honestly has obviously enjoyed really unprecedented prosperity. We really have.
Yes.
It's made a lot of people prosperous. But you know what? Beneath that facade of prosperity, bigger houses, nicer houses, there is still the same fundamental problems in our city.
Yes.
People are lonely, they feel alienated, they feel exiled, they feel empty, the existential problems that all people feel.
Yeah.
That money and prosperity just cannot fill those voids, right?
Amen.
So, John, what I
So-
say is they have a Jesus-shaped hole.
They do.
That's
That's a
the
good
only
one.
thing that can fill it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, Jesus did say, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men to myself. And that's the point of this revival, honestly, is to bring Jesus to our city.
Absolutely.
Just at least in our area, And we've tried to walk our streets and pray. We try to go door to door to just invite people. And plus at the Hampton, which is
Yes.
really cool too. We've rented the ballroom all week. We've reserved it for a great kids crusade. I want to say that.
So
Could
the
go-
children are not going to be left out. There's
No.
activities the whole week.
Yeah, so
For
they
the
get the
children
ballroom
events.
because we thought that's safer
Yes.
than trying to corral them. You offered to let us put a tent up in front of your place.
Yep.
But we figured we needed maybe something a little more protective. But here's the thing. There's an organization out of Houston called Children's Evangelism Fellowship. It actually came as a recommendation for me to call them. They've been doing children's evangelism since like 1936.
Wow.
Their curriculum's like in 200 languages. They are actually the ones coming to Bastrop to try to reach our kids. We're providing the support system,
Right.
but they are actually the ones providing the content of the Kids Crusade. So if people have kids from 4 years old, I think, to 12 years old, that's going to be pretty dynamic as well. In fact, I'm going to tell you something. I told them, I called them, I said, look, we don't want just puppet shows. We don't want just games. I mean, all that's fun. We were raised with that. I said, we really want our kids to have a real encounter with Christ. And you know what I mean by that.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I mean, we didn't really have kids' churches growing up, really. But we were there in the big church with the adults. We were at the altars. We were crying out. We were crying. We were confessing our sins, and we were repenting as kids.
Right.
Right. And sometimes I think we miss that because, kids' programs have kind of taken on a new look.
Right.
But this crusade, I told them, I said, look, fun stuff is good, but hey, our kids need a real touch from God. They really do. And I know
Our
y'all
kids
would-
are under stresses that
Yes.
didn't exist 20
Right.
years ago.
When we were
And,
kids, for real.
So I think what you have provided us is the best segue ever to Kids Outdoor Zone.
At Genesis Laser Aesthetics here in Bastrop, Texas, we offer the most advanced technology in facial rejuvenation and body contouring. With pelvic floor strengthening, M-Cella is an FDA-approved treatment for urinary incontinence. M-Sculpt Neo can reduce fat by 30% and increase muscle mass by 25%. How about a facelift without needles, surgery, or downtime? Don't drive to Austin. Our friendly staff will be glad to set up a free consultation. 512-581-5016.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you. Yes, and John's real familiar with it too because we actually have a chapter at Celebration Church.
We were the first ones in Bastrop County.
That's correct.
That's right.
That's
All
right.
That's amazing.
So, Kids Outdoor Zone is an outdoor youth adventure ministry for boys ages 8 to 18, where we train men around the country. Actually, we're in 36 states now, but we started out in Austin 14 years ago and saw a need for. First, really, it started out as a men's ministry because we were really seeing that the men of the church were kind of sitting in the back rows a lot. They weren't really serving other than maybe setup team or tear down team. And so, how do you get them engaged? And it just so happened that my husband was called to a Sunday school class to fill in, and we all know how that goes. It fills in, and 3 years later, you're still filling in the Sunday school class. But from there, the Lord just birthed Kids Outdoor Zone, and it's a longer story than we have here. But we started there. We're getting ready for our 14th year. So again,
That's
we
exciting.
train men in churches to use the outdoors through the curriculum that we write, much like Awana's would be, the curriculum that we write. And then we field it and train the men in the fields. And then, so we saw that the DNA had transferred. We could transfer that onto other men in churches to use this as a way to bring the men into these type of situations, bring the boys of the church, and then use it as an outreach tool, with the heartbeat of it being for the fatherless boys, because we know if fatherlessness could be classified, if you will, as a disease, it would be epidemic. So that is our hearts, is to reach those boys, really at those tender ages where their playgrounds change quite a bit from age 8 to 18, right? They change, and so we want to intervene and train men to intervene in their lives to show them the love of Christ, and the means to that is through the outdoors. So, yeah.
I love it. I'll tell you, as a counseling intern, because I think, excuse me, by now, our guests know that, our audience knows that I'm working on my master's in human development and counseling. And you're right, it is an epidemic. And having those strong role models in their life, it's crucial.
Yeah,
it's crucial.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of, just to bring up one thing, that the question that we get asked the most is, so boys that come that don't have a father in their life, and they see the boys that are there with their dads, because a lot of them do come, does that hurt their heart? Does that make them sad? And I always say, that's such a beautiful question, but really, we want to, for them to see the model of what it looks like to have a relationship with a dad. Where else are they going to see it? TV,
Right, because
internet.
one day they're going to be dads.
Right, when they're going to be a
and
dad.
they're going to need to know what that looks like.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, these men take them on as fathers. So they have multiple dads in their
Absolutely.
lives.
So you have volunteers in your organization?
So they're volunteers in the way that then they're trained to what we call an HTL, a harvest team leader, and so they volunteer that way. But they really come kind of like become a pastor then, and to the boys. And so the groups that we have across the country meet. They pick a Saturday that they want to meet. I think celebration is the third Saturday of every month, and then Calvary Baptist meets on the second Saturday. So we have boys that they go to both of them, but and then from there they spend a Saturday learning, the skills that are taught that day, and then from there grows the mentorship through there, and that then it turns into campouts and different things like that. So it's just a way to.
So if someone wants to be a volunteer in this organization, how do they do that?
So it's through a church, through their church. So if they start a group at their church, we do the training either in person, or they can train through video now. But they would be a volunteer that way. As far as like if anybody else outside of that, we have different things. I mean, we moved our headquarters from Austin to Smithville, so there's always stuff happening in the office that we're, we need stuff done there. So
We can always use help. And I tell you,
Yes.
and Connie knows this, our community is always willing to step up and
Very
say,
giving across the
Huge.
county.
Yeah, huge.
So speaking of giving, you have a big event coming
We
up.
do. Thank you for mentioning that. April 28th at the Kalahari Resort. It's a Friday night at Kalahari Resort in Round Rock. And that is our, so for KOZ National, that's our biggest fundraiser of the year. And that helps us to send boys that don't have the means to go to a week-long summer camp. It's to train new groups across the country. It's to write new curriculum. It's the overarching fundraiser of the year. And so it's a lot of fun. We have great stories from the fields that are told. We have wonderful food and a live auction and a raffle and
sounds like it's going to be
So
a
how do
it's
people
gonna
get
be
tickets?
fun. So they would go to kidsoutdoorzone.com. So www.kidsoutdoorzone.com, or they can call the office at 512-292-1113 and request some information, and we will be happy to email it to them.
That sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? I know everybody around here loves going to events.
Oh
and-
yeah.
And if you haven't seen Kalahari, I'm looking forward to the event because I've never been out there,
It's
Although
crazy.
it's not in Bastrop County, it's still okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes we venture out.
That's right.
That's right.
And it is the biggest indoor water park in the world.
It is,
So
wow.
one side is a resort, the
Wow.
other side is a convention center. And it's just like you said, we have so many people that love to get out here and just venture out and do fun things, but why not do fun things that are good for a cause?
Absolutely.
You know.
And going to make a difference for people and kids in Bastrop County.
Absolutely.
It's going to be an amazing month of April, right? You've got I'm going to tell you, when John came to me and he said, hey, TJ, this is what we want to do, because as you guys know, I'm the general manager of the Hampton. I was like, a tent revival. I was so excited. And I've told everybody that I know, guess what they're doing? I haven't been to a tent revival since I was a kid. And I tell you, I think I'm as happy as he is about
Mhm.
the event. It's going to be amazing. And I'm glad that you had the thought to go, okay, what about the kids? Because,
Sure.
being, having a 6-year-old at home, it's like, what am I going to do with him if I go to this event?
Yeah.
And you don't want to run around out there on the hassler, and what a great idea to do that. And you have some amazing people, by the way, in your organization.
Mhm.
I appreciate
And-
that.
It's just amazing. But we're really excited about people who will make the effort to make a difference. in
Well, I'll
our
tell you what,
community.
when they shared the concept with us on KOZ, I'm not exaggerating. I think it took me 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
To go, yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. Why not? But I was thinking of my grandson. I got a grandson that's 10 years old. I mean, he has a dad, it's not that, but they're not really outdoors people. They're video people.
Right.
And I was like, golly, I just wish they would could do something like this. It's part of their prayer. They have a KOZ press called We Hunt, We Fish,
We share our faith with others.
Yeah, we share faith with us. So, and then they have at the very end, as part of the program, that the kids go off on their own and write out their prayer request.
Oh, I
And those
love
are very
that.
touching too. I mean, and then we continue to pray for that through the month. But we needed something for boys,
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
not that, there's other organizations that do stuff, but there's not much in the church world. And my thing is,
Right.
it's
Too bad.
Bastrop is big enough for every church to have it.
Oh,
It's not just like, okay, you got
absolutely.
one over here that has it. No,
Yeah.
every
Every
church
church.
should
So
have
y'all
something
heard
for
John,
young.
right? He said every church in
Every
Bastrop.
church.
That was a little
Thank
bit
you,
of a
John.
challenge there, right?
Right.
there.
Yeah, why not? Every church has
Well,
young
yes.
boys.
It's
I
our
think
next
that's amazing.
generation. They're the next, they're going to be marrying our daughters and our granddaughters. And,
Yeah, there's another one for you, pastors. They're going to be marrying your daughters. So I
we
love
got
that.
We got to train
That's
them up.
amazing. So they don't have to be fatherless to be part of the
Oh,
organization.
no.
Not at
Just
all.
the heartbeat of it is that those are the boys we really want to reach. And
That's wonderful.
and then God just does what He does. It changes the hearts of men. It changes marriages. It's just a beautiful thing the way that He works.
In my
Yeah.
situation, I'm raising my grandson. My daughter passed away, and my husband and I are raising my grandson. And he's 6, and I want him to be part of different things. But if it's got a Christian spin to it, oh yeah,
Oh,
then
yeah.
I'm in, because you've got to be careful now when you get involved in organizations.
Absolutely.
So
I
you
agree.
know where really where they're coming from
Right.
and what their basis is before you just jump
Right.
without thinking. So I think what you guys are doing is amazing, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for
having us.
coming by. Blessings abound in Bastrop County, and we're so glad that you now know where you need to be for the tent revival, and you've got a fantastic party to look forward to the end of April.
Connie, that was a great episode.
John and Sandra know how to touch hearts.
Yes, they do. And I tell you, I'm really looking forward to this tent revival. It's going to be amazing. And they're actually going to do a passion play. I'm so excited.
Well, and the Kids Outdoor Zone, what a wonderful organization for kids that have dads and kids that don't have dads.
yeah,
They're the next generation.
they really are. And I tell you, I'm really looking forward to that gala on the 28th. At Kalahari, I'm going to get to check that out.
Well, I said it before and I have to say it again. Blessings across Bastrop County. It helps all of us.
Absolutely.